Htp family, welcome to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio. Uh, your host tonight would be a different one. No, I'm just playing with you. It's Onitaset Kumat, and I'm the author of the Pro-Black Compendium, as well as the Book of Power, but also, as you can see, Pan-African Wisdom, Greatest Orators. This book right here is going to be, well, it's free, and it's in the link in the description. Greatest Orators is actually taking from the Book of Power, right? So I looked through, there's a section on the Book of Power about the greatest orators in our story, and maybe a little bit more than that. And what I do is I kind of just take some quotes from each page. So if you want the full context, obviously go get the Book of Power. But if you want to just keep it short and simple, if you want to be able to communicate to our people, then just get this little book. It's you could either download it for free or you can order a copy, and consider that your weekly, monthly, whatever donation. All right. So again, now this is all right, blah 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 blah. You kind of got my permission to send it around, if you will. But I mean, obviously, I prefer if you send people to this video. This right here, we gotta say this, right? So Dua Amon, right? And if you want me to explain some of this, I could, right? So Dua Amon. Now, matter of fact, you know what? Read the book. Dua Amon, Mimini Ankobia. When you read the book, you understand all of this. Maybe not. Yeah. You understand all of this. Dua Amon, Mimini Ankobia, Tulinde Ma'at, Tushinde Isfet, Mat Keru, Tuendele, Ma Keru, Tuendele, Dua Amon, Mimini Ankobia, Nita Yetu. Tuendele Ankobia, right? This is obviously the logo. Abibi Fahodie. You see it's the African woman standing over the Wazungu man. The Mzungu man, right? Here's what I could say about this, though. You know that this emblem is actually like a white person on top of a white person. And back during our enslavement, there was an insurrection, or an attempt at an insurrection, where it was like a white person over a white person. The bottoms had six emperor tyrannus, and what they did was that in order to get the insurrection going, the like black folk, not even like reading, not knowing what the Latin meant, they just showed it. This is actually the flag of I think Virginia or something, right? So they just showed the image, and they just showed it to each other, and people were like, "Oh, I know what to do." You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what we got to do. You understand? Like, the insurrection almost went through, I think, but then somebody, obviously, always there's an Ascari. Almost everywhere you look, there's an Ascari. But so anyway, let's just normalize and just change to page 37. So let's see, who is this? Oh, Maurice Bishop. Okay, come on, guys. Our people also understand that the first law of the revolution is that a revolution must survive, must consolidate, so more benefits can come to them. All right? Now, Maurice Bishop, now this is the thing that we understand. So Maurice Bishop is from the 60s, Black Power era, all that, right? But unlike the Americans, right? This brother actually, like, this is an actual revolutionary. An actual black revolutionary. You're gonna see in like the traditional revolutionaries, the quote unquote revolutionaries that we think we study, like let's say the Black Panther Party, right? The Black Panther Party, whereas they were, in some sense, I mean, like again, like in 20 years from now, you're gonna look back and look at NFAC and be like, oh, look at that, black people and black militancy and black people, and then you're gonna say to yourself, well, did they really do any black militancy? You understand? And it's the same with the Black Panther Party. It's even the same with, no disrespect to the ancestor, but same with Malcolm X. You see the image of Malcolm X, posed with a rifle or a gun, whatever, right? You see the image of him with a gun at a window, but you don't really hear of him shooting anybody. And and the reason why I bring that up is because like somebody else brought up that we tend to associate Malcolm X with violence, but they said, but he never really engaged in any violence. And of course, that's a to in their eyes, that was a good thing. But like in our eyes, we have to understand that that's not necessarily a good thing. You know? Or even if you, and the thing is this, even if you do engage in violence, if the state then represses you and suppresses you, it's not really the same thing. And there's this video I was circulating on, well, I wasn't circulating, but there's this video from, like Stokely Carmichael and them, right? Stokely Carmichael and H. Rap Brown. I never heard of H. Rap Brown. I go and turn on this video. Maybe I might play it maybe later today. So if you want, you can tune in. Tell me if you want me to play it later today, right? But the brother goes and says, "How many white people have you killed today?" I'm like, "What? Bumba clock?" You know what I'm saying? And he's saying this in front of a white audience, okay? He's saying, "How many white people have you killed today?" in front of a white audience. This is radical, all right? So I'm just like, like props to this dude, right? In a sense. But the question is, how many white people have he killed? And the thing is that they put him in prison. They actually put him in prison, and it looks like for killing like a black cop or something. But again, that's really. But then you have to compare it to Maurice Bishop, who takes over, albeit a tiny island, but he takes over an island in the Caribbean. All right, he takes over an island in the Caribbean. So it's like we have to understand the difference. The difference between like the rhetoric of how many white people have you killed, or the difference between the imagery of black folk marching with rifles, right? Like NFAC, Black Panther Party, even Malcolm X, right? Or even when Malcolm X says, if somebody tries to hurt you, you hurt them, right? But then he just gets killed. You understand? And that's a lot of our people. A lot of our people will talk stuff and then just get killed. But then Maurice Bishop, I mean, not to say that he doesn't get killed, but he does liberate Grenada. Is it Grenada? Yeah. He liberates Grenada. So there's a huge gap, a huge difference, and then the irony is that you don't learn about Maurice Bishop. So again, you open up the Book of Power, you learn about Maurice Bishop, and that should be like, unfortunately, it's like you don't know, so you don't know that's really like, or you don't know, so you don't know that's a really good thing to learn about, or a good person to learn about. And I mean, obviously, you could listen to the speech, because I only have one of his recorded speeches, so you could listen to the speech, online. I just recorded like the best parts and articulated on them. So even if you were, and I think I have that for free on in the preview. So if you just look at the book preview, which obviously you can follow, you go on the Discord, you can check out the book preview. When you look at the book preview, you can get the speech, you could read it along with his recitation, but the main thing that I wanted to do was just expose you to the great people of our past, and this is one of them. Well, he is one of them. So, but we want to understand this too. The first law of the revolution is that revolution must survive. This tells you something already, right? What you have to understand is that governments are not revolutionary. Governments, I mean, there's a revolutionary government, and then after the revolutionary government, they're no longer supporting revolution in the same sense. Because if revolution is to take over the government, right, the government's not going to support revolutionaries in a sense, right? So that's partly what you have to understand. The government's going to try to crack down on H. Rap Brown for what he said, because that's clearly, you know what I mean? The government's going to try to crack down on Kwame Ture and Stokely Carmichael. Stokely Carmichael, same person, right? They're going to try to crack down on Malcolm X. They're going to try to crack down on Martin Luther King Jr. Anybody, well, not Martin Luther King Jr., but anybody who's trying to, like, really try to do revolution, they're going to try to crack down on. Okay? Because, again, the revolution must survive. And what you have to understand is this, that according to the Americans, right, they are the revolution. The American government is the revolution according to them. They must survive. Okay? And they must consolidate so that the benefit can come to them. Do you understand what I just said to you? Come on. You're not even understanding that. So, the government becomes the counter-revolutionary everywhere. You understand? If I were to go over to Africa and I were to somehow manage to get, a nation going, which is, the intention, right? I'm not going to then say, if somebody comes aside, anybody comes aside, has some complaint, and says, hey, I want to do away with Onis, Onis, I want to do away with this new nation that Oni got. You think I'm just going to be like, okay, sure, I fought all this stuff, let's give it up and go for whatever the heck you want. Like, why would I do that? Why would I just do that? Like, why would I go through all this human effort so that you can then come along? And I mean, if you have something better, then yeah, we try to consolidate so that the benefits can come to all of us. But again, this is something that you're not really. This is something that we're not really being exposed to, because we tend to think that the people, the radicals, and all that blah blah blah, are the revolutionaries, right? But don't really recognize that in the white man's eyes, they are the revolutionaries. You understand? And so they follow the same freaking first law of revolution. You understand? And look, and most importantly, who the benefits are for. The benefits of America are for the American people, the white American people, particularly the white Americans with land. And that was in the first Constitution. That was the original. Those are the original people who could vote. And I mean, Maurice Bishop tells you further that a lot of people couldn't vote. So I mean, this is some deep stuff. I want you to understand. I want you to grasp. But if you don't, that's just something that you have to really get. Now look at this right here. This is so man. Look, Maurice Bishop. So he says the very first decree of the revolution in Grenada, right, was to outlaw sexual victimization and exploitation of our women in return for jobs. You understand? Sexual victimization and exploitation of our women in return for jobs. That was the first decree of the revolution in Grenada. Our sisters, and this is the thing that we have to understand, as like if you're a man, you have to understand that a lot of times, a lot of engagement with our sisters, a lot of men do want to victimize and exploit women in return for jobs. And I mean, on the one hand, as men, we like this is dehumanizing, but we can't really. A lot of us can't see it. A lot of men can't see it. It's like, why would I help out somebody? Like, why would I help out somebody who's sexually attractive, right, and not want something in return? But the reality is that you would help out a brother in real talk. I mean, if you're talking about like giving a dude a job, if a dude comes along and he wants a job, you'd give it to him, right? And you don't expect nothing in return. But then when a sister comes along, if she's fire, you'd want to give her you're just like, wait a second, And I mean, that's like the complicated thing about human hormones, because to a large degree, and I want to say this because there was like I said, I linked up a monkey documentary, and I might even go over that. I don't know, but I linked up a monkey documentary in a Discord. So like I said, go to the Discord. You could hear a lot of insightful stuff. You could see a lot of insightful stuff. But one of the things that happened in this documentary was that you see these monkeys, right? And what they do is that they kind of just like they just walk up to each other, make a little noise with their mouth, like whatever, like smack their lips. That's what they do, smack their lips. And then when they smack their lips, that they communicate to the other monkey that they just want to hug, they want to embrace, intimate, nice hug, right? Human comfort, all right. And so these monkeys, they live in abundance. They live with human comfort. Like they just, not sorry. When I say human comfort, I mean monkey comfort, right? Whatever, right? They just want to they just want to be comforted, want to be held, want to be warm, want to feel body heat, right? In the West, you don't have that. You understand? In the Western world, you don't have that. In a simpler life, and this would be a monkey life, obviously, but in a simpler life, if you want physical engagement, the thrill, like physical affection, comfort, intra-species comfort, if you will, right? If you want that, you don't get that. You have to, do somebody a favor. You have to take them out. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. Because of that, right? Like it affects and impacts the male psychosis. It affects and impacts Well, I mean, I mean, I would say both psychosis, the male and female psychosis, but the difference between men and women, obviously, in the West, is that if a woman wants, if a woman wants, male affection, she could just snap her finger. You know what I'm saying? She even got to reach up with her hand. But I mean, look, I'm just telling you right now that these women, they just want to get a job, and they male affection is thrown to them. Well, not even affection, if you will. It's not the same as because it's unrequested. Like sometimes you when you want it, you want it. But then again, like this male, he's going through this sort of so forth. So this is another thing that we have to understand as a people. Because even like I was thinking this, like imagine a world, or imagine what a society would be like if a man or a woman or whoever just wanted a hug from a stranger, right? And they got it. You understand? Like a perfect stranger, just like, I just could use an embrace. Because that's what the monkeys were doing. It's like, I could use an embrace. I mean, obviously they're all from the same tribe, if you will. But this was like, they were saying it was like non-familial, like non-family, not romantic relations, nothing, just a perfect stranger in a sense. Like as much as a stranger you could be in like, like a tribe, if you will, right? But it's like this is something that can be be a reality, but it's so far fetched for us today, or at least for like particularly for me in the West, and especially where I am in the West, because like where I'm in the West, and that's like New York City, I don't even know my neighbors. Like I couldn't even point them out in like a lineup. If there was like 10 of them, like 10 people that look similar, I couldn't point them out, and I wouldn't be able to name them, and they wouldn't be able to name me. You know what I'm saying? like I was living next to this one neighbor one time for like I want to say good amount of years, and they asked me what my name was. You know what I mean? And when they asked me that, I didn't know theirs, and we was like neighbors, like seeing people like So it's like for me, it's like that would just be ridiculous. Maybe some people are living out there like, hey, I need a hug, and then they get it, or they they get some group comfort or whomever or whatever. But yeah, but again, like I said, outlawing, but sexual, like you can outlaw this stuff, but also you can have a culture where women are just looked at like you would look at like we're just like when women are looked at like Africans. You understand? And men are looked at like Africans, and you treat people like Africans. It's to say that you're giving people jobs because they're African. That's how I move and mobilize in this life, and that's the kind of consciousness that we want to put in place. Now today with the West, it's like, oh, that's a woman, and oh, that's a man. I'm not saying that I don't blame men for. I mean, I'm not saying that men, shouldn't be sexually attracted to women, and of course exclusively. I'm not saying I don't believe so. I'm just saying that if you're talking about in return for jobs, just because she's beautiful or whatever, doesn't mean that you're entitled to her, or that you only do something in order to get something in return. Like that's, I mean, if you want something in return, it should be her work. You give her work if she's good at work. If she's fulfilling some sort of job that you're really looking for. Uh, but if you're looking at, I mean, sure, I know some of y'all gonna say something, but not interested. We're gonna skip that part. So let's see. Look at this. So this is Maurice Bishop again. I kind of want to go grab some water though. So like, give me 2 seconds, all right? But let me read this to you. Then I'll go get some water. So the way they were educating us, they were really educating us to make us into fools. And of course, he's talking about the British system. I'll be right back. Yeah, the way they were educating us, they were really educating us to make us into fools. What white people are doing is that it's called miseducating you and making you into a fool in the sense of, in this example, like I said, you want to know the context. In the context of this example, he was saying that when he went to London, right, because he's all the way from Grenada, they're colonized by UK, so he finally, he goes to do law school and he ends up in UK or whatever, because they don't have the schools there. And then he's sitting in the park, and then somebody starts playing the English national anthem, he's the only one that stands up, like in the middle of the park, right? He's the only one that stands up and salutes and all that, and everybody's just walking around making their own, whatever. So what happens is that they teach this patriotism, they teach this patriotism, this respect for UK, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, the people in England itself are just like, nah, we ain't with it, This is the foolishness, and that's like you can kind of see this when you look at, like, if you're talking about America, right? And I mean, I'm gonna try to stop talking about America, but even so, when you talk about America, you kind of see this with black folk in America who are just more patriotic than the white folk, than a lot of the white folk. Or there's a significant number of white folk who are not patriotic, but then there's a significant number of black folk who are, and that's like one of the, it's like making you into a fool kind of thing. I mean, the same could be said of like African nations, where if you're a diaspora of an African nation, you might be patriotic towards that African nation, but then again, there's dissenters in the country itself. Like a lot of times it's about proximity in a sense, but you still become the fool because, technically you should be a revolutionary, and trying to do away with whatever nation is not necessarily created for you, right? So now we're going to go into Sister Soldier. Hopefully you enjoyed Maurice Bishop. So I see Bit of Medicine said, peace family. You guys got to make sure you check out Bit of Medicine's podcast. Brother was reading several excellent articles, on like education and curriculum building, and he's showing that, like in his last one, one of his last ones, he was showing how these white folk, or not these white folk, these black folk would go back and study Marcus Garvey and try to change it into, let's implement this for multicultural education in order that we could improve, like teaching Latinos and like teaching Latinos and Asians and all that, like use the lessons of Garvey to teach Latinos and all that, because Garvey's method was so good. But then of course the brothers asking throughout, why don't we as a black people do the use the lessons of Garvey for ourselves? So make sure you check out those podcasts. He's actually reading these articles and giving the good commentary, and more of us have to review that kind of stuff. So let's go. This is Soldier, and she's saying they do not want us to survive and become self-sufficient. And the thing is this too. Like, here's the thing that I wanted to say about like of course Sister Soldier is in America, so I guess I have to go back to the American topic. But the thing is this, that this should be common sense to our people. This is why I put out my book, because this should be common sense for you. Why would a nation want you to be self-sufficient? You understand? Because the thing is this, if you are self-sufficient, will you still report to them? Will they still have information on you? Will they still be able to track you? You understand? It's like this. It's like with my kid, right? My kid. If he were self-sufficient, how would I know what he's up to? Like, he could just leave my house, right? I wouldn't know where he's at. You understand? I wouldn't know where he's at. And you might say to yourself, well, why do you want to know where he's at? Well, now, you wouldn't say that because you know I'm his Baba. Now, you might be like, well, why would the white man want to know where I'm at? Well, first off, if I know where you are at, right, I can get your money. You understand? I can get your money. I can make sure you're not doing anything against me. This white boy, he wants to collect taxes from you. He wants you to work for him. He wants to make sure that you're... Because, like, you have to realize this, too. In Europe, they don't have 8-hour days or something like that. Something like that. They don't have 8-hour days. They have, like, naps and rests and all that, or something like that. Something, and they don't work 5 days a week, and they have, blah, 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 blah. The reason, or like some European countries, the reason, though, is because they trust one another, right? But when they give you an 8-hour day, they make sure that you have a 2-hour commute, They make sure that you got to sleep 8 hours and whatever, you know what I'm saying? They make sure that you get a physical, you get this, blah, blah, blah. They on your ass. So they make sure you busy. with them. They know you're not working but 3 hours a day. Okay? They know you're not working but 3 hours a day, but they know where you are. So no, they don't want you to be self-sufficient, because when you're self-sufficient, they have no idea where you are, what you're doing. You know? And I'm telling you. Now, as far as survive, you know, if you're going to survive and be self-sufficient, nah, they don't want that. So, I mean, whereas I like that Sister Soldier says this, I'm saying this should be common sense, and that's why I write books. Because the fact that that somebody had to say it, this is one of the brightest sisters, or one of the brightest people in America, right? The fact that somebody's saying this like it's something bad, right, tells me that a lot of us need to understand this. You understand? So I mean, I might have to I might want to, you know, put that out, put that out on the stratosphere. But yeah, they don't want you to be self-sufficient. That would be ludicrous. That would be ludicrous. But like, come on, and make sure y'all are sharing these videos. I see some of y'all. I see everybody liked it, but make sure you sharing it. Say, look, hey, it's Sunday African Warship time. Go tell somebody. Tell somebody. Run and tell that. I want to see. It's 4 people right now. I want to see 8 people. So everybody just reach out to somebody and say, it's Sunday African Worship. Are you studying war today? Are you studying war today? And get them on. Yeah. All right. So let's go. So this is again, I believe it's the soldier. Yeah. All right. So she says the question is, what can we build amongst ourselves to secure ourselves from our enemies so that we will be able to survive into the future, right? The question is, what can we build amongst ourselves to secure ourselves from our enemies so that we will be able to survive into the future? And what I'm going to tell you is that you got to go build a boat. You know what I'm saying? You got to go build a boat. All right? You got to build a boat. You got to build an airplane. You got to build something to get out of this country. Or you got to find some way to, get that wealth. Because I was telling you already, a lot of black, I already saw 3 businesses talk about, we finally sold, we finally pretty much, we got a sponsor from a bigger, from the white man, and I keep telling you this, but you keep ignoring me, you keep saying, no, we're not about selling out. Matter of fact, let me see if I can remember what the business was, because I put it up on, in the Discord. So in the Discord, we have something like Pan-African investment page, but that's if you verified. So, come through, drop your voice, let me know you African and all that. Not just your voice, but let me talk to you for a minute and we can see if you African. So it looks like I didn't put it up in that verified chat. I probably put it up in another one. I'm gonna look, see if I'm gonna try to figure out where I put it, because this was actually pretty interesting. It was like this brother was talking about, he had this regular business, this business that you or I would have supported, right? Or you would expect you or I would support it, right? But what happens in the business is that the I think NBC says, oh well, we'll support this thing too, oh yeah, here it goes right here. Should I show it to you guys? Let me see if I can show it to you. All right, let me just say it this way: Afroland TV. So it says, this is like a tweet, and it says, my wife and I started a streaming service for Afrocentric TV shows and movies. Afroland TV. So I was hearing about Afroland TV for a minute, okay? They started a streaming service. Let me see if I can copy this link and show it to you guys, because I want you guys to, you guys and gals, I guess. But I want people to see what I'm talking about, because a lot of you are saying to yourself, "Only man, we don't have to sell out." We don't have to sell out. Afroland TV. I've been hearing about that for a minute. Okay. Let's see if I can, let's see, how do I share this screen? There you go. Y'all see that? Alright, my wife and I started a streaming service for Afrocentric TV shows and movies, Afroland TV. Comcast NBC Universal is now an investor. I would love for y'all to help us grow even more. No subs, it's free to watch, sign up free at afrolandtv.com. A simple retweet can help. Hey my people, thank you so much. The support has our sign-ups booming, FAQs. And the thing is this, I've been hearing about this forever, I got me a subscription to Quelly TV. Afroland TV was another option. It had less things available. No cap. You know, but I said to myself, yeah, at least I'm gonna do quality TV or whatever, right? But I already told you, like, business in the West is about selling out. It's about selling out. So the thing is this page used to be a subscription. Now I guess because NBC and Comcast became an investor, now it's free, right? But again, like I saw this for like 5 years maybe or 4 years. Always oh, can you subscribe, blah blah blah. But then finally he makes it big, and you see if y'all look at it, him and his wife just taking these nice pictures. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't never seen this brother before, right? You know what I'm saying? I never seen this brother before, but now they got it. They got NBC or whatever. They're taking these nice pictures. But that's what you have to realize about this Western situation that you find yourself in, right? That you're going to come up against white wealth, and white wealth is gonna say, hey, you know what? Give me what you got. You understand? Give me what you got. So eventually you're gonna have Martin and all that. You're gonna have white folk and what was it? Some of them shows with the white boys inside of it. I just saw one. I mean, I was watching it per se, but there was this one show where it's like this black couple and this white boy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like you're gonna start seeing some LGBT stuff coming inside. Lovecraft Country or something. Something like that. And that's what it's gonna be. You understand? So I mean, whatever it is that you think you're trying to accomplish in the West, if you are in the West, you have to realize that if you're trying to survive, and this is what Sister Soldier was talking about, if you're talking about survival, you're talking about running. Because like I said back on the other podcast, about the core tenets of the ABS, it's like, how is that the North Star? When you talk about the North Star, when you talk about the enslavement of African people here in America, you're talking about people who understood that one of the solutions was to get out of Dodge, to get out, was to run. Okay? Like, one of the solutions for your individual self was to run. Obviously, you might say, well, the other solution was to fight the Civil War. That's the ramifications of the Civil War is what you're going through right now. You ain't free. The people who are free are the people who left. Or the people who are free of America, I should say, are the people who left. Okay? Or the Maroons. But they also ran and made their own stuff. Built themselves independent. Okay? And I'm talking about the Maroons in America. Right? They also left and, they might be in like these little areas. But even when you talk about but if you talk about say the Gullah, who I don't know if people consider them the Maroons of America, but they're landing close upon big time. You understand? And of course, I mean, anybody could say, well, Africa's getting itself encroached upon big time too. You know what I mean? But here's the difference. I want to say is that, when you go to Africa, you can get the people to be you get the majority of people to be against America, or you can get a significant number of people to be against America. You here in America, and you want to get a significant people against America, yeah. For your black ass, no. It's gonna be like I said, the Civil War all over again. What happened with the Civil War was that white folks stayed on top. Okay, white folks stayed on top. There are very few situations in America where the white boy don't stay up on top. So let's see. Soldier again, she's saying what powerful is. So she says powerful is when you can deliver resources, services, and substances to your people and not compromise. You understand? Look at that. Powerful is when you can deliver resources, services, and substances to your people and not compromise. Like I said about Afroland TV, you just have a subscription. I thought it was like real talk. I didn't even know if I thought it was like some like straight out of Africa stuff. It might be a different. I might be thinking of a different page, to be honest. But I was thinking of some straight out of Africa stuff, because I would go there and you could like see Nollywood and stuff like that, right? On that program, right? You could deliver services straight to the people, right? To your people, and not compromise. You think you can't compromise? You think you're not going to compromise if NBC is your biggest investor? NBC is one of your investors, to the point where, listen to this, to the point where you no longer have to charge a subscription fee. because the thing with Afroland, if I remember correctly, it was like a $12 subscription fee, right? It was kind of pricey for a subscription. You understand? Even quality TV is a little bit more pricey than considering the content. The amount of content that they're giving you, right? It's a little pricey compared to, like, let's say Hulu or the other ones, right? And I just realized I shouldn't even name drop these white boy stuff, so forgive me for that. But I mean, of course, you already got like 10 subscriptions, but still, I shouldn't name drop it. I'll let the white boy do his own advertising. I won't, whatever. But the point being that, at least with like Quelly, because that's why I be talking about Quelly, because it's like I'm giving them game, right? But like with Quelly, I'm not saying that they don't compromise, but they got some straight out of Africa stuff, some nice stuff, and so did Afroland TV, right? But now Afroland TV is free. So if they get enough money from NBC where they could now be free, they don't gotta charge you nothing, right? You think they're not gonna compromise? When NBC says, "Oh, your contract needs to be renewed, next year," right? What's gonna happen now? Right? All these people who subscribed because it was free, right? Now they're gonna be like, oh well, NBC wanted us to show you love care country, but we was like, no. Oh, NBC wanted to show you Rick and I keep talking about these white shows, but alright, we want to show you this white show, these two quiz, and we was like, no, we're not gonna do that. And so now you gotta pay $12, and and then people are like, whoa, hold on a second, And then NBC gonna release, and then here's the thing too, NBC gonna release an article talking about, oh yeah, they were just, racist, and they said this, so on and so forth, yada yada yada, and I mean they were saying they don't like LGBT, and blah 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 blah, right? And they got that on the big press, MSNBC or whatever. Matter of fact, it might be the same station. MSNBC then has Rachel Maddow talking about, and that's a white girl, she's like a white journalist here or whatever, like one of their favorite, right? And she's all like, yeah, they're going against LGBT, and it's just a racist organization, and, would you believe that they had a sexual assault, blah, blah, blah. And now every black person in America sitting back like, oh, wait a second, I don't know. Because they don't have their own independent media, right? And so, who's the powerful people? All right, now. All right now. Sure, I should have had a co-host. Somebody jump on the live and be the co-host and tell me, all right now. No, I'm just messing. But let's see. Yeah. So I see 5 likes. Like I said, tell the fam to show. Oh, let me write it down. Talking Warship. I like the phrase Warship. All right, let's keep going. And if y'all saying, how do you apply this to war? You might as well ask me, and I can do that. So Barbara Sizemore, these are the groups whose culture doesn't save them because the people haven't had enough sense to save their culture. Barbara Sizemore, okay, like, oh man, you guys gotta go listen to her, right? So this is obviously from her speech. Black people just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just don't get it. Like, she just says it throughout. It's this amazing example of oratory. Definitely check out Barbara Sizemore. She's one of the best orators you could hear from, right? And so she's talking about, us as an African group. She's like, these are the group whose culture doesn't save them because the people haven't had enough sense to save their culture, And this is the tragedy. Now, obviously, anybody could tell you that black people in America have a culture, have saved their culture in a sense. But anybody could also tell you about how much we like changing. You know what I'm saying? We like changing. And I think that's from the Last Poet's got a poem saying, I think it's called like N-words are scared of the revolution, or N-words love changes, or something like that. One of the two, right? But they just go through about how much we like change. Like if you go through the last 100 years, we've changed our outfits. We changed the way we dress. We changed the way our hair, we changed our hairstyles. We changed, how we talk. Like I was telling the other brother during the podcast earlier. We used to talk like during the 70s. You was talking like, yeah, bruh. Oh man, you know, like that, like slow, nice, melodic, and then now, you know, we talking like, you know, whatever, right? I was about to say me, but you know, people gonna be like, nah, ain't nobody talking like you. But anyway, but like, you know, we just talking different, right? We dress different, we dance different. You know, one day it's like, you know, it's you know, like if you see them evolution of dance videos, you can see that, you know, you go from like disco to like, you know, high pumping, you know, jump, jump to like, you know, whatever this is today, you know, oh yeah, the whatever gestures, like we just like changing. I mean, that's not all culture is obviously, but even like almost everything you can think of is very different from what it was 100 years ago. You know, technically, what you want culture, like culture, is supposed to be is what your ancestors were doing. You know, or what your like what was handed down from you to your ilk. You know, and I mean, obviously, everybody has modernized and mechanized. So even white folks, obviously, modernized and mechanized, but or industrialized, and so and like you know, and a large, but a large to a large extent though, uh, you know, a lot like and that's the thing that happens too, that a lot of the culture, like all over the black world, to be honest, well, not all over the black world, but a lot of the black world has given up. I mean, has given away a lot of their culture. You know, like how it engages with the West, like how like essentially, I want people to understand that when a political system and another political system interact, there's a like an osmosis, like a diffusion, if you will, right? And both of them kind of change. But and then the same with the economical system. Two economical systems come. There's like a clash. There's a like warfare is two political systems coming up against each other. Warfare is two economical systems coming against each other. Warfare is two cultural systems coming up against each other. But the issue is that a lot of times when it comes to us as a people, as a black people, like when these two systems come against each other, uh, the it's like the Western side is like mostly dominating. So I'll give an example too. An example right here, for instance, is that most black kids today, like black kids, even my kid's age, and even my kid, I guess, have tablets. You understand? Like have tablets, have access. Like when I was younger, we had access to computers. You know, access to computers and laptops and all that kind of stuff. And of course, that's a good thing in a sense. Obviously, you know, gives you that technological, competency. You know, that most of the young people have better than their parents. But the thing that we don't have, are the stories of our ancestors or the stories of our culture. So I'll give an example. My mother's from Jamaica, obviously. So when she was younger, she would hear stories, Anansi stories. Okay, so that's a story of the clever spider, if you will. And obviously in America there was Bra Rabbit. So it's the same stories from Africa that were, there's stories from Africa that are about clever, and it was like, children got together and they listened to these stories. So in America it was Bra Rabbit, which some people will point out, Bugs Bunny is based off of. But there's also like a Disney movie, I think, but I wouldn't watch it. I mean, I never watched it. Maybe I should watch it. I don't know. But when it comes to, yeah, so like I said, but and then Haiti has another group, another name for their wisdom stories. But I wanted to focus on what I could definitively say, which is that my mother did hear these stories from her mother, but I had never heard these Anansi stories. You get what I'm saying? So instead, I know Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all that, not Dragon Ball Z, whatever, right? I know that stuff. I don't know Anansi. And then meanwhile, what Anansi was about was, like wisdom teaching. It was teaching you to be clever, teaching you to navigate through the world in a certain way. That we did not hold on to. Okay? And because we didn't hold on to that, I mean, it's like, because Bra Rabbit or even Anansi stories, what they're about is like critical thinking. It's about, engaging with deception and coming out on the better side. It's about identifying your enemies and all that kind of stuff. It's intelligent. But instead, we went through the public school system. You know what I mean? Which is which was, as Maurice Bishop pointed out earlier, was to make us into fools. So I mean, that's that's really like it's a really deep sentiment. That's really typical for black folk in the West or westernized black folk in Africa. Obviously, there are African cultures that are much better intact on the continent, and those are the ones that you really want to engage in and indulge in and like really go back and study from, you know. But that's Barbara Sizemore. Make sure you check out Barbara Sizemore. Man, that sister. Ooh. All right. So I'm guessing this is her again. So I'm just gonna. All right, let's look at it. Barbara Sizemore. All right. So it's a big problem. As soon as we get a little bit of money, we want to run away from us. Now, what do other groups do? They run together, right? Uh, Let me see if I can do this. Hold on a second. Let me try to get these people. Alright, let me make sure. Can you guys hear me? Alright. So here's what I'm telling you right now. Barbara Sizemore says it's a big problem as soon as we get a little bit of money. We want to run away from us. Now, what do other groups do? They run together. You know, this is one of the big problems that black folk have. Is that when we have a little bit, we decide, look, now it's time to get away from our people. But you have to realize, too, that to a large extent, it makes a lot of sense. Right? If you're not policing your own people, like I told you, one of the biggest problems is going to be bandits. One of the biggest problems in any in the world is bandits. It's not a problem if you're in the West, right? You know, because you're like, hey, I'm in the West, it doesn't matter. But like, let's say what a bandit is. I want to say it like this. Let's say if one, I mean, you gotta know what a what a stick up is. You know what a robbery is. You know, if you know back in like you want to look at the fact that like I said, political system, like how the white boy holds on to his culture. The political system of the West is one of like bandits and bandit protection, or even that's just like something that's standard. Like the first kingdoms, all right, like I said, the Ptah Htp one time said that like all kingdoms are based around trade, right? And what that means is that you can protect the trade routes. If you can protect the trade routes, that's why you have political authority. You understand? Now, so that means that if you can keep your people safe and the people who are trading with your people safe, you're considered a good leader. So you see, politics and economics and culture, they all link and align, right? Here's the thing now. In the hood, nobody's protecting your wealth. So let's say I do have a lot of money in the hood. Now what? If I have no protection, right? If the culture is not suited towards me having wealth while you don't, right? Or even if I'm trying to give you a little bit of wealth, right? But if I'm trying to give you a little bit of wealth so that we both have it, right? But your cultural mindset is you want it all for yourself, right? No, I'm not going to stay around there. You understand? Or if I do stay around there, it might be to my detriment. And I can't remember. So Brother Bit of Medicine actually pointed out that how a lot of the brothers who make it, they get out and leave the community, right? But those who do decide to stay, end up dead. You understand? So it's like you have to realize that, you know, if you are staying, you know, like how much of it can you really solve if it's in the government's interest that things don't go how you want it to. You understand? Now, what you could do is you could run to a group, like an unclaimed group, unclaimed land, if you will, like what you would want, like kind of like Atlanta, like some people would say, is that Atlanta would be somewhere you could run with your black wealth, and it might be protected because, you know, like you said, you have a black mayor, you have a black governor, maybe, I don't know. But the point being that probably is your best bet if you do have wealth. You understand? And you want to stay in America, like go to somewhere where black wealth is protected, and that's what you kind of see. This is what I'm talking about with economic migration. A lot of migrations are about economy and economics. You know, so you have a little bit of money, but you're not gonna stay in the worst areas, because if you stay in the worst areas, essentially you're gonna be up against bandits. Some people call them thugs if they're in America, or if they're if they like thugs are basically urban bandits. You know what I mean? Pirates are basically aquatic bandits. And the reason why I'm using the term bandit is because it was in the book Garvey and Garveyism, where he was saying that when black folk was going to work in another country or whatever, no, inside they were going to work in some country, they would get ambushed. You understand? They would get ambushed, and some of them would be slaughtered and killed, on their way to work. And this is like a regular, a normal thing, but we don't really think about it because, we're like technically under a functional government, but the thing is that but that's like depends on where you're at. A lot of people are not under a functional government, and not only in the world but also in America. But we'll talk about that, when we get to it. Let's see. This is Barbara Sizemore again, my sister from another mister. So let's go. To survive, the group must ensure that each individual member is able to take care of himself or herself, reproduce himself or herself, and take care of the progeny, and we are losing the group function. So she's saying the group function, to survive a group, must be able to ensure that each individual is able to take care of himself or herself, reproduce himself or herself, and take care of the progeny, and we are losing the group function. And again, I want to tie in everything that, this is what you want to, a lot of great ideas are coming out of America, right? It's just the issue, and the reason why these great ideas are coming out of America is because it's not really practical in America. So you're going to have black people in other parts of this world who are taking care of themselves, who are reproducing themselves, who do take care of their progeny, right? And in a sense, you want black people in America to, somehow do the same, but it's not as practical. It's not as practical. So I mean, like I said, like it's good and bad. It's good and bad because they're telling you something that we should be doing. The bad part is that we are doing it, but we're not even like approaching those who are doing it. Like we can learn a lot from like I said, there's Maroontown, for instance, right? Maroontown in Jamaica, they're doing this, taking care of themselves, reproducing themselves, taking care of their progeny. You understand? They're doing it. And you might say, well, Jamaica is kind of poor. Yeah, Jamaica is poor because they are copying the wrong people. You understand? They're copying the wrong people. All right, let's go on. But yeah, we have to copy the right people. We gotta go to ourselves. We gotta bring ourselves up. So it says and this is important right here. This is actually very important. Barbara Sizemore again. Every group, through the pooling of its own resources, lifts itself up out of poverty. We keep expecting some other group to do it for us. It's never going to happen. And again, I'm telling you that one of the issues with us is that pooling our own resources. That I mean, you have to. You want to pool your resources together. All right? You want to pool your resources together and lift yourself out of poverty. Okay? No one else is going to do that for you. Right? The issue is whether other people are going to hinder your efforts. Whether other people are going to hinder your efforts. But again, it doesn't even matter in a sense. Like I said, there are better cities for you. If you're gonna stay in the West, I would advise you go to one of those, black majority cities that also has black authority in it. You know what I mean? I advise you do that. But otherwise, you want to go to a black majority nation that has a black authority in it, so that your resources are protected. So that you don't have the quote unquote opposition to your resources. So, if nothing else, I would advise that. But yeah, nobody else is going to do it for you. and it's never gonna happen. So this is why when people talk crap about the Democrats, if you will, right? I don't care, because I'm like, I'm not expecting white folk to lift us out of poverty. You know, I mean, I would concede to the other people that technically white folk could. Well, I mean, they can't really, because there's no way. Like white people don't know how to develop economies anymore. You understand? I mean, the way how they developed their economy was through like some hyper exploitation. There was actually a sister having a debate, and she was like, "How are black nations gonna get wealth if?" And this was, like I said, a black sister, right? So she was like, I had to clarify that because I was talking about white folk, but like sister just means a black person, right? Black woman. But anyway, there was a sister who was talking about how could black folk get wealth if we're not gonna be, how can we get the same wealth as these white folk if we're not doing hyper exploitation? But like that's the way white people know how to develop wealth. So if white people don't know how to get you to be wealthy, without taking a big L for themselves, like the way how they would do it is they would have to do industrially, like have you being industrially, like give you like good jobs, good high paying jobs, right, from doing some sort of industrial labor, but they already know they can get it cheaper in India. So why would they do that? You understand? Like it's just a big L to build a factory in the West, and then have to pay a bunch of money to a bunch of black folk, because the thing is with the black folk is that we are kind of like technically unskilled labor, whereas India is India is unskilled and skilled, and they work for less. And there are much more of them. You understand? Like there's a billion Indian people. There's 40 million African Americans. So even if you build a factory, and it's like a no-brainer. It's like a no-brainer. Like there's no reason for them to do what needs to be done. Now on the flip side, you might say, well, we could pool our resources and build those factories. Sure, but again, you're competing against it's a bad situation. I would like I say, I advise repatriation. I advise repatriation. That's about it. Let's see. Anybody else got any comments? Come on, let's go. In 1932, WP. Oh yeah, without Pan-Africanism. 1932, Carter G. Woodson told us if a child doesn't learn, the child needs to be studied, not abandoned, not penalized, not put away, not labeled, studied, so that you could teach him or her. That's Barbara Sizemore. This is the thing I want to say. So I'm doing like the homeschooling of my kid. This kid, smart, brilliant. I keep telling y'all he's 5. Boy's doing multiplication. He's doing, yeah. I mean, like, as long as you say multiplication, that's it. You know what I'm saying? But like, he's doing multiplication. I think you know a little division too. But you'd be like, what's 9 times? Like for instance, you ask him what 9 times 9 is. He's like 81. And it's not from memorizing the table, because I ain't showing the table. You understand? But he's working it out. You know what I mean? The reason why I say that, the reason, it's not to, whatever, but the reason why I say that is because, like I said, I didn't bring him to the public school system. But you don't bring them to the public school system, and instead you just engage them. And I mean, I'm not even saying I'm going to engage him all the time, because like he also got tablets and books, and he does his own independent study in a sense, to a certain extent. I mean, I showed him the works, but I'm not like blah 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 blah, right? But the point being though is that children come with a inherent intelligence. You understand? Children come with an inherent intelligence. So if a child doesn't learn, if you will, again, it goes back to the teacher itself. But I really want to say it goes back to the parent. It goes back to the parent. It goes back to the community. I mean, because again, like you might say, well, the parent can't always be there, sure. But what is your community doing? Like, why are you sending your children to the public school system? Why isn't your community organized to, have its own community education in a sense. You know, and I mean, you could say, look, man, I'm paying 30% of my taxes to keep these schools open. Yeah, that's your problem. You understand? That's your problem. You know, because the thing is this too, that when we're talking about African nationalism, building an African nation, we're talking about, you know what? You wouldn't be financing another people's education. You understand? You would instead be, you could actually be in the, like you could be in Africa. Your taxes going not towards, like you could rehaul the whole public food system so that people in the community are getting paid to educate their children. You understand? You could collect the taxes, same taxes, but instead of that money going to, you know, the big building and the teachers coming from wherever, it's the community. You know, the community. I mean, obviously it'd be the kind of the same thing, except for the fact that you could make it so that the teachers are only from the community. You understand? You could make it so that each of communities, and the thing is that the community should be black, because like I could have a teacher from the community, like I could have it could be like a white person in the same damn neighborhood as me, and they could be the teacher. If you, I mean, and that would be a bad thing. So what I'm saying is that on the continent you could change that, but instead of doing that, you know, sending your children to be abandoned and penalized and put away and labeled. And the thing is that all of us, like if you're a black person in America, if you're a black person in the West, you know of a child who was abandoned, penalized, put away, and labeled. You know, if you look to your left and you look to your right, you know it's if it ain't one of them, it's you. You understand? And because of that, you know, because of that, it's like this is what you're doing to your own people. This was and Carter Woodson said it in 1932. Carter Woodson said it in 1932. But instead of you, just you know, what I'm saying, you know what, I could do better for my people. Instead of you saying I could do better for my people, you don't. What was her name? What's her name? I talked about her the other day. But there's this master educator in America. She took these kids who were abandoned, penalized, labeled, and put away. She took them, made them like they were like fourth graders. No, sorry, they were like let's say they were second graders. They were reading at a 12th grade level. She got second graders to read at a 12th grade level. These were the kids that were abandoned, kids who were considered learning disabled. She got them to read at a 12th grade level. Right to the point where Ronald Reagan was like, you know what? I want you to be Secretary of Education. And she said, nah, hold that. Right? I put her name inside of the Pro-Black Compendium. So if you look in the back of the Pro-Black Compendium, you can see her name. Whatever. Right? But, you know, there's a documentary on her too. And it's a nice movie. One of them famous, like two famous actors was like acting, you know, in that movie. Right? The point being though, that there is something that you could do, right? And I mean, yes, you're paying these taxes, so you want to use the public food system. Just take the L, right? Pay somebody in your community. Get yourself organized in your community. Pay somebody in your community. You know, I told you already. If you got 10% of everybody's income, right? The average income will can be sent to somebody else. So that means that you'll be at 90%. They'll be at 100% of what you got. Like, let's say if you had the average, right? So, and then now you make them the full-time teacher of your children, right? They got a full salary, not working for nobody else. They have a full salary teaching your kids, making sure your kids are not, and it's like with a class of 10, they got 10 students that they're guiding through the whole freaking curriculum, full pay. Come on. And you got it already. Easy. You know, because here's the thing I want you to understand too, that back in the day, before the public food system was a thing, and this I'm talking about America, everybody had like personal tutors. You could have a personal tutor. Just set aside 10%. You have a personal tutor for your children. You know, but I'm playing now, right? I'm playing now. Um, let's go. We have proceeded with political strategies as though politics can be considered separately from economic strategies. This won't work. We've got to stop spending all our money as consumers, and we've got to learn to be producers and owners. You know. So again, let's go back. We have proceeded with political strategies as though politics can be considered separately from economic strategies. You know, and this is part of the whole, oh, go vote and then you're done, right? Now, I mean, I understand that black folk, you shouldn't just vote and just be done. But I mean, at the same time, it's like for me, because like I said, I'm a black nationalist. I don't really care that much. I let y'all do the work. I would just do I personally would just do I mean, the people who are more, I vote for that so that the people who are more politically minded have a chance. Like the black folk who are more politically minded, who want to change something and do something good, they have a chance. So like I have a congresswoman, or I have a congresswoman, or like some representative that she's just like fire. You know what I mean? Like she even got a cool name. I don't want to really give away my address per se, but I mean you already know. But like her name is like Farrah Lewis or something like that, right? And I was like, yo, that's like that sounds like Louis Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying? But her name is like Farrah Lewis. Like, it's like, she's fire. She was like, she writes. Like she emails us, like her constituents, if you will, about the coronavirus. Tells us what's going on, when those restaurants are opening, how many people died, all that. Like she's doing all that stuff. She got political ambition. She's a good one. I don't think she's a sellout, nothing. But even if she were, I don't really care per se. Like, I mean, I don't know what she's selling out to, but she's just a good politician, right? So when I go vote, I say, look, I'm supporting black folk who have political ambition, because like I said, once upon a time, I had political ambition until I realized this country ain't really whatever. But I'm not really going to knock anybody else's hustle. You know what I mean? I don't knock other people's hustles. And the thing is this, truthfully, like she's the kind of sister that, yeah, you can probably approach her and talk about, oh, I would like a grant for something. And she probably hook you up. You understand? Now that's the thing that you have to realize too, that the economic strategies, a lot of the economic strategies comes from these grants. Government got money to give out contracts. Government got money to give out grants. Government got money. I've read about that, and like I told you, the best page in Movement for Black Power, where dude was saying like $61 million is going to black churches. You know what I mean? The government had money like where it could even give $61 million to black churches for social services, like foster care and what was it, food pantries or whatever, right? But like it are youth programs and all that kind of stuff. If you have like she could have been she wasn't obviously there around that time, but she could do the same thing. She could be like, oh, you a black church? Yeah, here, we're gonna give you this amount of money for your youth program. And I could go to her and be like, oh, I got a youth program where we blah blah blah. She gonna give you some money. Or childcare. A lot of these daycare centers that you see walking around, they all like registered with the city, right? And so the city be giving them all money. Like, what don't you understand about that? Now, I mean, and again, like, and the example I like is of the sister. There was this one sister who was like an engineer, and what she did was that she got the contract for the roads. And so what happened though was that whatever city she was in, whatever state she was in, they chased her out. The white folk who usually get the contracts to do the roads, they chased her out. But obviously that's like a whole other story. That's that political protection on top of the economics.
So they told her to hit the road.
Hit the road, Jill. Don't you come back no more. All right, but like the thing is that you want to have that political, like you want to have the politics before the economics. Real talk, because if you don't have the politics, then essentially white folk. Like I said, there's bandits. White folk destroy white folk businesses. In regular context, So like I said, one bakery.
That's capitalism.
Exactly. Like, oh, I thought you were talking about cap. All right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like white folk destroy white folk business, even if it's like two bakeries, like right across the street from each other. Or even said differently, like I was, like if you talk about like the mob and all that, like they're technically protecting their Italian businesses.
They break bread, literally.
You said what?
They break bread.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about literally, but But yeah, like they technically protecting Italian businesses.
Bakeries.
You said they got bakeries.
You brought up bakeries.
Oh yeah.
They break bread.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but that's the thing though. That's what I would say that technically, you know, like they're protecting them. So it's like they have that. That's the political protection they have, and that's why they have police. They have dirty police. They have this, so on and so forth. You know, that's the political protection they have, and without that political protection, you think the Italians would have that economic stronghold that they have in those areas? No.
But would the economics come before the politics?
Well, I mean, like, this is why she's saying that you can't really consider them separately. But again, you know, that's the thing with the bandits. The bandits are not necessarily an economic force. You know what I mean? So, like, the mob's not necessarily an economic force as much as they are a political force. You know?
Sure about that. I mean, they control means of production and construction.
Exactly. That's the economics. But they themselves, like, they're pretty much like, we're going to protect your business. You know what I mean? Like you go to them,
well,
like
if you don't have the funds, then
I mean, yeah, I think they start off with you don't need like big funds. Like it's like these gangsters, right? They like the thugs in like the hoods, if you will, right? They don't necessarily start off with the funds. You know, they're more like protection, and then like funds come to them. You know what I mean? It's like a interchain interlink. You know? It's like technically I could go up to a black business and say, hey, you know, we're gonna protect you from now on. You know what I mean? Now I don't necessarily have the money to, but then they give me a little bit of bread, if you will, and then I start protecting them. You know, then I got the money. You know what I'm saying? Like if I go up to enough businesses, if I somehow convince enough businesses that I got them, you know, then so on and so forth. Now obviously if they see me and they be like, look, my dude, you ain't gonna protect nothing. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Before I call the cops, some shit. You know what I'm saying? But like again, like it's complicated. Like they're like I think one of the things I used to say is that you know politics, economics, and culture, they're all interlinked. You know, they're all one and the same in a sense. You know, but in the same sense, it's like you know what comes before the other is like almost like a philosophical question. You know. But
chicken or the egg.
Exactly. It's like, oh, don't you have to have a good economy in order to protect somebody? But it's like the level of economy that you get from it is just totally different. When you're because essentially politics is about taxing. You know the businesses and the people that you protect. You know what I mean? So that's what the United States is doing. The United States is taxing you and the businesses within its borders. You know, it's taxing the people and the businesses in its borders. You know, so and allegedly for our protection. So what these people do, what these gangsters, in a sense, do, and these I guess would be literally gangsters, right? Is that they also tax the trade and the businesses. Wanksters. Okay, 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Okay, 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? Yo, it's 50. AKA. All right, let me stop. All right. Yeah.
Whip your head, boy.
Whip your head, boy? Hey, this is what I think about Robert Sizemore right here. So, you see this right here. Like, a lot of us, we say this for years. We consumers instead of producers. And, like, we have to, all right, this won't work. We've got to stop spending all our money as consumers, and we've got to learn to be producers and owners. We've been saying this for generations. Like I have quotes of John Edward Bruce saying the same thing, you know. And so John Edward Bruce is like from 1890 something. You know what I mean? He's saying this in 1890 something. Barbara Sizemore is saying it. Well, I'm saying it, you know. And the thing is that it don't matter if you're saying it.
I like how you put your name with those people.
Well, I was just trying to say something modern. I don't know. Like, modern people saying it too. I mean, everybody's saying it. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me say Machiavelli says it. You know what I mean? Like Machiavelli was saying it. You know, on his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's saying it. Huh? What do you say?
You already know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I gotta put your name right next to Barbara Sizemore and Jonathan Bruce, right? Okay. Let's do the emoticon. Let's do the GIF with the guy saying like, yeah, okay. Anyway, look. Right here, this is the guy. Oh yeah, she said, listen, our children do not need 2 weeks of sharing in their earliest grades. They need 2 weeks on ownership. That's Barbara Sizemore. This is actually pretty interesting. So I need to get my son more playmates, obviously. But one time when I was in Jamaica, he met his cousins, right? And because I got family in Jamaica, obviously, right? So he meets his cousins, but I gave him like a phone and gave him a bunch of kid apps on it, like a phone with no data, like no real phone plan, just use it for the apps, right? Because you can do that. So he's there with these other kids, and they just like grabbing it. Now he don't know nothing about sharing, so he's trying to grab it from them. They kind of bigger, and there's 2 of them, so they kind of wrestle it from him, like, hey, wait. So he ends up looking over their shoulders while they playing on his tablet, and I'm like, hey, let them play, because he's gonna have it all the time anyway, right? And that's his family anyway. But the whole thing is that so I'm technically teaching him to share, but again, that's his family. It's not like it's like some stranger, right? But that's another thing about ownership. Technically ownership. Now I'm not saying be a owner against your own family, against your own people, but it would be good to also be like, you know what, this is mine. You know what I mean? Like particularly with other people. Like this is mine. This is for our people. This is for our family. Now, obviously, I ain't have no like stranger up in there, like some white kid up in there, trying to get the tablet, and I could then teach him, hey, you know what? This white kid tried to grab something from you. You tell him, no, this is mine. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have I don't know no white kids like that. I'm saying, well, I'm gonna just bring them in, teach them something. And like in Jamaica, that part of Jamaica is like 99% black. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, but here's the thing that happens inside the public school system, that children do learn about sharing. And the thing is that when you go to the public school system, it's like a multi-ethnic sharing. And let's remember too that the white lady, like usually your teacher, particularly in those earlier grades, is a white woman. You know what I mean? She's a white woman, and she is teaching you and telling you, oh, you gotta share. So she might be showing you how she just take your stuff. You understand? And she's teaching you to sit along and smile and be a good boy or a good girl while she takes your stuff and calls it sharing. Makes it seem like it's a good thing for her to be able to take whatever you got. She'd like walk up to you and be like, hey, look, I know this is your pen, but can I?
That, bro.
You don't know about what?
I don't know about that. If you have siblings, that's what your parents teach you at an early age anyway.
Yeah, I said like it's your family, but again, that's like I said, like sharing with your family is one thing, or sharing with your people is one thing. But when I say multi-ethnic or diverse, I'm talking about sharing with white folk.
Classroom setting.
Exactly, sharing with white folk. So now you're learning to share with white folk. Like that's what this white lady is doing. She's teaching you to share with white folk. And that's something that we have to realize too, is that with our people, we tend to share way too much with white folk. So, one of the books I keep telling people I have, or you should read, is Pieces of a Puzzle, where she's talking about the secret sexual relations between blacks and whites. And, this is obviously adults, but still, she's like, one of the things that happens in these relationships is that black folk tell white folk everything. Like, we share information about everything. Meanwhile, you say what?
We not on code.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, white folk don't share nothing. You understand? Now, I don't really necessarily think that white folk don't share nothing per se. I think white people aren't as smart or brilliant as people might think. Because, this is actually a woman who, she was like her whole basis is that nearly full of stuff. So it's like a Fuller Wright book. And that's probably the reason why I even bought the Fuller Wright books, because I was like, the sister was doing like but she said something interesting about Fuller, and I was like, hold on a second, I gotta see if he actually said something that dumb. You know what I mean? Like, she was like, only white folk can stop white supremacy. You know what I mean? And I was just like, wait, that's what he said?
Because it's global.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and the thing is that, you heard, like people actually think that. I was like, nah, ain't nobody ever said that. Ain't nobody could be that fucking like, nah. All right, let me stop. Let's keep going. So let's see. It's all about power. Oh, this is Afyon. My other sister from another mister. All right, so this sister right here, Afyon. If you don't know,
I don't know you.
You said what? You don't know me? Yeah, exactly. I know her. She ain't even replied nothing. I was like, dang, y'all. Her and Arikana, yo, my two sisters be like acting like we ain't family, man. She's like, what? Hey. Anyway, but yeah. So Affiong still living, like Sister Soldier's still living, Affiong still living, right? Means you reach out and you act like, and they still organizing, you know. Sister Soldier, if you don't know,
just DM Sister Soldier.
You say what?
Probably just DM Sister Soldier.
Yo, I met Sister Soldier.
Oh.
Yeah, I met her. I mean, she didn't really talk like that. I met Miss Marimba Ani. She actually let us sit down and talk with her though. So she's good people. Yeah. But after
you got contact?
Do I have a contact?
Yeah.
Nah. But actually, real talk. No, she actually forgot me for some reason. But she I don't know how. Like what? Like she the only person. Like her brother remembers me, and he stayed being like, how come you guys never because we like the brothers was there, like we was in this group, and like I was having a meeting, but I was having a meeting at a public venue, right? Like there's like a festival that goes on, so because we had the meeting every week, I was like, let's just meet up at this festival instead, right? And so he was there, and then somebody spotted Marimba Ani, so they all kind of like just left the meeting. And just went and sat with her. Huh? I know. Everybody was like,
we always compete with you.
Everybody just dipped on me. But anyway, it's okay. Like we went on Saturday, I was all, everybody gonna take all my people, whatever. Anyway, but remember, Ani was she was cool. She told us to read Race First. That's probably the reason why we got it, right? But she really took a liking to my ex-wife, right? To the point where. Later on, she even tried to give my ex-wife a free ticket to something, all that kind of stuff. But her brother, he was a cool cat, and he teaches at Mega Ever College, and so he was he's teaching this course.
Oh, so she was pandering.
Who was pandering? You a jerk, my dude. Anyway, bruh, yo, all right, yo, man. Anyway, but no pandering. Anyway, but anyway, so. Yo, stop it, my dude. All right, you gotta remember that people might listen to this. All right. Anyway, so what was it? Yeah. So remember, Ani later on tried to give a ticket, blah blah blah. So it's like a big Garvey event. It was like a different type of whatever. But here's the thing, though. What happened was with her brother. Her brother remembers. You said PC.
BC before COVID.
Oh, before COVID. Yeah. What was the name? Remember Ani gave this dude BC is before. You know what? Never mind. Everybody know what BC is. But what was the name? Remember Ani? Oh yeah, her brother. He was doing this class, and so every time he sees me, he's just like, "Hey, how come you guys didn't sign up for this class?" And all this stuff. But yeah, otherwise though, no, I think Ramani was just kind of getting a little older, so she didn't whatever. But she remembers my ex-wife for some reason. So whatever, it is what it is. Anyway, let's go to Affiong. She's like, look, this is it. It's all about power, but we're not organizing for power. We're dancing around it. We pray about it. We sing about it. Some of us even read about it. The rest of us speak about it. Nobody is organizing for power. This is our challenge, beloved Africans. And I mean, obviously this is a criticism on all of us. But the thing that I would say, on a larger extent, is that a lot of us don't know how to get that power. A lot of our people are convinced that you're going to get power in the West. A lot of our people on the continent are like, hey, let's go to the West. In fact, I'm writing this story. It's going to be a good little interactive fiction. There's going to be an option for you to go to Africa, and then what are you going to do when you're in Africa, right? And so one of the options is obviously you're going to look for
kick back and relax.
Exactly. One of the options is that you're going to look for work to sustain your life, and you're going to realize, look, there's probably not that much work available. There's really not that much work available, especially not to somebody who's like an immigrant or something. You know what I mean? Let alone as somebody who's native. You know what I mean? So it's like, to a large extent, we have to realize that what you can do, like even as you said, you go to Africa and you kick back, that's not power. You know what I mean? Like a lot of strategies that we have, or like if you're in Africa and you're looking for work, you can't find it. You might just say, you know, I'm going to go to the West. You go to the West, you have no power. You know, if you're in America and you're like, you know what, I can probably go do so on and so forth, you realize you don't have any power. So a lot of us don't even know how to approach the situation of power. Like, we know we have to be producers. We know we have to be owners. We know we have to do this, so on and so forth. But how we do it, how we go about with it, we don't know. So again, this is why I wrote the Book of Power. You know, so that we can at least, you know, have some sort of a framework. But again, it's a little bit more complicated because, you know, you come up across the reality that a lot of us are not even reading even that book. So Future, I saw Future wrote, says, how old are you? I am 31. I memorized this because,
Future Hendrix?
wait, not Future. Wait, I might be 32 actually. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, don't worry about it. What'd you say?
Wait, Future older?
No, not Future, not that one. Yeah. Hold on a second. Can I? I already said that one. Alright. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, I memorized that because, dang, was it mine? Let me see. It might have actually. I might be older than that. Alright. Never mind. Let me go double check that. But anyway, let's see. This is our challenge to begin to organize for power wherever we are. Alright. So this is our challenge to begin to organize for power wherever we are. So again, you know, I want to emphasize that power is in the nation. Like, the most powerful entity is always going to be that nation. Again, partly because that nation is organizing for power. Like, a nation is an organization for power. You understand? The American or any government, like the Nigerian government, is the power in Nigeria. You know, most governments are the landowners. The land gives the power. You know, I mean, the land is where you got the power, in a sense. You know, the land is the resources. The land is where the people must live. If you're charging people to live within your borders, you know, you technically have the power there, right? So a lot of the governments are the power. So if you're trying to organize for power wherever you are, you really have to organize like where you're a black majority. You know? Where you're a black majority and where you can have access to that government. You know? And that's really like what it comes down to. So, you know, the wherever we are kind of thing doesn't really make much sense. You know, it doesn't make much sense to go to, like for instance, it doesn't make much sense to, like, all right, let's say if it was a time for plantation stuff. If we were on a plantation or whatever, right? Or we visited a plantation. It wouldn't really make sense. Like, if we went back in time and visited a plantation to be saying, hey, let's organize for power on this plantation. You understand? Because what you will find is that, you know, like you don't really have too many options on a plantation in terms of organizing for power. You know, the best you could do is kill the overseers and the plantation owner, right? And then, but the thing is that you would then be surrounded by white folk who recognize you as somebody who's killed white folk. You know? So you don't really have much of a chance there. Now, that's a clear example. But somehow the parallel, which is that you're still on this white boy's land, you're still surrounded by this white boy. And I'm talking about in the West, I guess. Right? And yet you think you could organize for power here or there, where really you can't. So, or really you're just in the same situation where, yes, even if you were to kill a certain amount of white folk, you will then be surrounded by white folk who will slaughter you. You know? Unless you have some sort of, you know, like some sort of real, like you're not organized to that level. You're just not organized to the level that, and not to say that you need to be organized beforehand, because like I said, you know, Toussaint Louverture shows up in Haiti, and he wasn't necessarily organized beforehand, but like the Haitians weren't necessarily organized beforehand. But the thing with that happened in Haiti was that, or Haiti, was that they were the majority. So it was like 90% of the population was black. You know, so it was like you had to overcome a powerful but numerically weak white folk. And what happened is that one of the biggest strategies to overcome the white folk was to let the environment, destroy them. Because it's like eventually you get like in the particular war zones, in the combat zones, you would get like a sickness or an illness, if you will. Like their version of COVID in a sense, right? Well, not really, obviously. But like the thing is that that would be how you could overcome them. It would be like almost like a war of attrition in a sense. It's different when they're the majority and they're the majority landowners. Like they can then do the war of attrition on you, and it's just totally different. You know, like you're just in a whole different situation. So I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like you like, hey, I don't hear no war in this warship. You just heard it. You know what I'm saying? you just heard it. So I mean, obviously anybody could comment on that, but I'll keep going from there. Yeah, let me right. So yeah, so the person asked how old I am. I'm gonna say 32. Anyway. Totally. I guess I just let that slip by me. All right, so let's go. If your son is going to be the emperor of an empire that will murder me and my sons, your son is my enemy and the enemy of my people. So if your son is going to be the emperor of an empire that will murder me and my sons, your son is my enemy and the enemy of my people. Afyan is saying, look, at the end of the day, I mean, this is what I say too. It's like you have to recognize that there are Askari in this world. And I mean, although I don't necessarily always call the Askari enemies, you have to position it to the point where Askari cannot infiltrate your organization, and you have to stop them by any means necessary. You understand? Like you have to be tight with your organization, because the thing that happened with a lot of the African revolutionaries is that the person next to them, like their right hand, was a Askari. And I don't know if they started off as Askari, if they were manipulated to be Askari, but you have to have the real African consciousness to the point where you will never sell out to your enemies. Because the Wazungu is your enemy, right? And if you sell out to Wazungu, there's something fundamentally wrong with your upbringing. But again, I don't know. Like I said, it's probably very tough, because we go back to the example of Afroland TV, right? They're like, hey, NBC Universal is an investor. Now, what do you think that means, though? Like, why would they say no to NBC Universal if they are, for years, trying to make it in the black community, right? Trying to make it with their, let's say $12 subscription, if you will. Trying to make it. $12 subscription is kind of hard. They don't have too much content. They don't blah blah. And then NBC Universal comes along and says, "Hey, you know what? Here's $2 million for your operation." Now I don't know how much money they were talking, but to NBC Universal, that's nothing, right? They say, "Here's this amount of money." You want them to say, "No, I'd rather go around with this $12 subscription that nobody wants to get for this low amount of content." You understand? You want, and so it's the same with these like Amilcar Cabral's right hand or whoever, or let's say go back to Lumumba. Lumumba's right hand. The Americans come along and they say, look, you guys fought a good war, blah blah. But real talk, if y'all, real talk, we as America finna send our troops in. We finna send our Marines. When we send our Marines and our troops, we gonna kill all you motherfuckers. They're talking like Tupac. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get all y'all, right? We're gonna do that, and we've done this in this country, in that country, in this country. Now here's the thing. We don't have to come invade you. Okay? We don't have to come and sanction you. Okay? We don't have to do none of that if you just kill your mans. You understand? And the reality is this, that a lot of people are going to hear that threat. A lot of people are going to hear that threat. Like, let's say even if they was with me, they would hear that threat and they would say, "Shit, all I gotta do is kill Oni, and then I'll be good. I'll be set." And not just that, like America's gonna give me some money. They're gonna give me some military defense. They're gonna do blah 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 blah. Right? Now, I mean, and again, I'm saying, the reason why I bring that up is because I'm saying, I don't know to what extent, like, what protection you really have against that. Outside of a real strict African consciousness that says, you know what, I'm gonna call your bluff. Because the white boy is really bluffing. There's this song, I guess it's a Swedish song, but it's like anti-American, pro-Vietnam kind of song, right? And they talk about, how one of the things that I guess it might be the Swedes that said it, not the Swedes, the Vietnamese, they said that America's really a paper tiger. You understand? It's really a paper tiger, so it looks like a tiger. It might even sound like a tiger, but it's made out of paper. And so we would rather, and so the Vietnamese mentality was that we would rather be dead than be slaves. But America is good at convincing people that it'd be better to be a slave than to be dead. So again, you want to have that real African consciousness, and the thing is that a lot of our ancestors stopped having that real African consciousness, notwithstanding the fact they're from Africa. Notwithstanding the fact, because even the people that we talking about that we like, oh, why they, well, like even they were on that Wazungu stuff. So I think it might have been either Sankara or Mamlukar Cabral, but they were like, the best revolutionaries on the planet, like were Jesus and Muhammad and Lenin. Well, one of them said that, like the three best revolutionaries was Jesus, Muhammad, and Lenin. And you're like, Jesus and Muhammad aren't even real. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Lenin's not even black. But it's like that's the, and then they're like, so the person next to them, right, who betrays them, it probably more Wazungu than that. But I mean, so it's like, you want to get that African consciousness, and as I tell people, if you really want that true African consciousness, come through on the come through on the book purchase and get yourself a copy of the Book of Power. Because when you understand about Ma'at, like one of the things I teach about is Ma'at. And when you understand Ma'at, you realize that more important than life is our way. And so the thing that white folk cannot give you is our way. You understand? And what you have to do is you have to be fundamentally opposed to their way. So I wouldn't even say Muhammad, Jesus, or Lenin, because they're all doing Eurasians' way. They're all using their way. So like this is like, I could be Amilcar Cabral. This is like one of the best. I would have named him. You know what I'm saying? You could have named one. I probably would have named him, but still, like he's like on the top 10 list, if you will. You know what I mean? Of modern era, at least, right? And while he's on this list, he's there promoting the Wazungu way. So you already know his man's gonna get him. Don't need to say more about that. Let's go. If we are not bringing up our sons to be great Africans, to be people who will raise our race, raise us up as a people, and invent us and take us to the next level, then may you have no sons. Dang. F young. She's like, if we're not bringing up our sons, if you're not bringing up your children to be great Africans, to raise us up, don't even bother having kids. And this is the thing with us as a people. We brag about how our population is growing, how our population is just going through the roof, right? But we ain't even teaching our own kids. We're gonna outnumber these white folks someday. You outnumbered white folk. Look, you outnumbered white folk during slavery. like you know what I'm saying? Like I mean. I'm not saying that, obviously a black majority, like I keep telling you, is a good thing, but, Latinos are good. It's going to be a Latino majority if you're not paying attention in America. It's so, it don't even matter. But let's go. Afyan. It's not just about socializing or just chatting. It's for us to internalize some of these things and make it impact on our minds, you know? So this is also important. I mean, I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker so that, you know, everybody can go home and get some, well, if you're not home, but whatever. But it's not just about socializing or just chatting. This is what we're doing. Like I said, social media is really a media social. That is, whenever the media comes out with something or whatever media exists, we're really just socializing under that media. You know what I mean? So it's like somebody has this video, then we all talk about it. Somebody has this, or the white boy has a debate, we all talking about it. Or this, so on and so forth. So it's really just a media social. I mean, to some extent, you do have, like in Nigeria, you have what's the hashtag #EndSARS. I think the Congo has something too. I didn't really. I was trying to look into what it was about. I really didn't grasp it though. But you know, you do have people who are using social media in a positive way, and you know, you might and like, even though I just said, hey, you know, a lot of young people ain't really being developed, you know, blah blah blah. You know, still, you know, it's good to have the young bodies because young people do sometimes, you know, try to activate something new in a society, you know. But again, you know, it's complicated, you know. Uh, you know, because essentially the thing with youth is that they go one, you know, they go any old way, you know. Like they can, and the thing is that they can go one way one day and go another way another day, you know. So these same kids, the same youth that might be doing good today, could be like the bandits tomorrow. You get what I'm saying? And not just the bandits, they could be the child soldiers, the children soldiers tomorrow. You know, like any discontented youth can go anywhere. The African proverb, I think we read it the other day, was, or last week, was something along the lines of, if the children are not initiated into a community, they will burn it down. You know, so a lot of times, yes, young people will burn, like be the people trying to burn and torch something, but the only question is, uh, you know, what's going to be, what's going to come out of the ashes, you know. And that's really like if you're not educating your people, you know, or I think it was Thomas Sankara who said this, or I mean, I keep mixing up Thomas Sankara and Amilcar Cabral, so I don't even know. But oh no, matter of fact, this was uh Sekou Touré. I think Sekou Touré. No, I don't remember. What, I keep mixing up all of them. But one of them said that a soldier without a political education is a potential criminal. You know, so if you're not giving your young people a political education, then you could, you know, you're essentially like, they're potential criminals. They could be potential good people, but chances are they're gonna go towards, like, the chances of you being a good person without education, without a African education is very unlikely. You know, so like I had to study. Like if I didn't study Ma'at, I would be talking about, like what I used to talk about a lot was like Western education stuff. You know what I mean? Like the Western philosophers. So it's like you have to really have that study in a sense. You know, even if it's not formally, if it's autodidact, you have to go and return to yourself, and that's like something that a lot of people don't do that. So let's see. Even if I recognize my own trauma, and of course I'm communicating to you in the language of our oppression, which itself is a form of trauma, right? Oh, she says, even I recognize my own trauma, and of course and see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's even right here for me. I'm talking to you right now in this Warship in English. Like nobody's perfect, you know. And the reality is that I'm not going to be able to talk in another language or communicate to you in an African language without going to study it. You know, without study, or even if I say study, without engaging it somehow. You know, and that for me is going to be really, really difficult because, you know, I'm straight up monolingual so far. So I mean, yeah, like this right here, speaking in English itself. This is what Afiyang is saying. Speaking in English itself is a form of trauma. You know, and this is why I tell our people, you know, let's get the Swahili going. Because when I do the Warship in the future, I want to do it in Swahili. You know, when I do study sessions, you know, on the continent, I want to do it in Swahili. You know, or if not Swahili, then some sort of African language. I want to say derivative of Swahili. You know, but the reality is that we have to get serious, and you know, if I'm doing, you know, expert level courses in Africa in English, right? I'm bringing some of that trauma to our own people. You understand? I'm bringing the language of our oppression to our own people, and that's already wrong. Like even this book right here shouldn't even be in English. So I'm gonna try to translate it, but it is what it is. So right here, so this is what are some books about organizing? I want to organize, but I'm unequipped, and the only option I see is bowing to another group and try to cooperate my agenda, and that's too much work. Mercedes, I keep telling y'all get my books. Peace, Afromac. How you doing? So Mercedes, get the get my books. You know what I'm saying? Like you get my books, then you don't have to ask any more questions. You gonna have like when you get my books, you got everything you need pretty much. Because the first book I wrote, Book of Power, Pro Black Compendium. Well, the first book was obviously Zuberi, but the second book was the Pro Black Compendium. In the Pro Black Compendium, I'm saying to myself, yeah, it was about organizing. It was a book about what do you do for organizing. The Book of Power kind of updates in the sense of it kind of clarifies that if you're looking for power, you really have to get some land. So it's really a question of what do you want to do. If you want to just organize without having power, then yeah, you get the pro black perspective and pro black compendium. If you want to build power, you go to the Book of Power. You know, so and obviously Zuberi is just a great ass book. So if you want to organize without power. Otherwise, get both. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like the other books, I wouldn't even. I mean, if you're talking about like revolutionary warfare, I would say Handbook for African Revolutionary Warfare. But a lot of the books are not about organizing. That's the reason why I wrote Pro Black Perspective, Pro Black Compendium in the first place. I mean, there is technically a book about organizing. It is called. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, How to Make a People's Revolutionary Army, or something like that. But it's like you know what I mean? Like it's alright. It's not like the thing. Like I said, without people, it's like it's not the same as like telling you how to do it. So the closest thing to that I could recommend, obviously, is the Pro Black Compendium. Otherwise, the How to Build a People's Army or something like that. And that's like a black author from FTP, which FTP could mean anything. Could be Feed the People. Could mean F the Police. You know what I mean? But but FTP is like they're a cool group, and that could be that organizing thing that you might want to look into. But like I said, it's it's complicated. So let's go. Even in those of us who are educated, who have degrees, who like to flaunt them, we're very proud. I'm a PhD. I'm this. No. You only have a formal education. You got a certificate from the enemy, certificated in his own means of education. That's Affion again. That's why I try to avoid calling even our ancestors Dr. this, Dr. that. I try to even just say Baba or Mama, because, the doctorate, if you will, or the doctoral degree, whereas it can give you access to better jobs in the West, it's still a certification from your enemy. It's still really just you being educated. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with formal education, because, you want to have that formal education. But what you want truly is to have that education from your own people. You want a formal education from your own people. Now, obviously the question comes up, is there a way to get a formal education from your own people? To the degree of in a broader sense, can I get a full PhD? Can I get a full study in astrophysics in an African setting? Can I get a full, for biomedical engineering or whatever? Can I get a full in bioengineering? Or astrobiology? Can I? Are there those programs for us, by us? FUBU, right? and obviously, that leaves something to desire. But that's why, like I said, I want to do that, and I want to do that in Swahili. I want to do that in African language. I do not want to write whole textbooks on whatever study we're doing in English, because that's already going to close out access to, like, it's going to make it so that English is the language that we have to approach, and it's like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'd rather it be an African language, and obviously, it could be any of the 10,000 languages on the continent. I just said, you know what, 150 million black folk, or close to 200 million black folk speak Swahili. That's about 1/5, 20% of black folk speaking it. So, that's the biggest one. You know what I mean? It's the biggest one, and not just that. Allegedly it's easier to learn. I'm having difficulty, but allegedly it's easier to learn. So let's just call it a day and move on from there. Because I have to work in some language, but if I pick a language with 5 million speakers, I'm not really going to be doing too much of a favor. Even if it's 100 million speakers, still just like I'm not doing what I need to do. So let's go. If there is just one topic that needs to be taught in school, it is history. And obviously the only thing I would say is that our story, history, our story and their story are two different things, and I want to clarify that. But yeah, history is one of the most important topics to teach. So this is a mantra she repeated: the people united can never be defeated. Some people would just say, yeah, but I mean we can keep it right here. She said it 3 times, classic. But the people united can never be defeated. That's what you have to understand about us as a people, that when we unite, we can't be defeated, in a sense, right? Well, let's go. It is necessary by the last act of national authority to... so I moved past the top 6, right? So I think you all noticed that those were all women. So it was like, I had the top 3 male speakers you can listen to on the greatest orators list, and then the top 3 female speakers, right? In the greatest orators list. And then so Effiong was one of the top 3. Barbara Sizemore and Sister Soldier were the other 2, 3. So you look up those. Obviously for the men, it was Marcus Garvey, Julius Nyerere, and Nkrumah. So now you come across Dessalines. You can't actually listen to him, but he was considered a great speaker himself too. So let's go right here. It says, it is necessary by the last act of national authority to ensure an everlasting empire of liberty in the country which gave us birth. So what you have to understand about IT, these are G.J. Dessalines, what you have to understand about IT was that IT was about African people, like was going to be the empire of liberty. Like, it was really the empire of liberty, and they were trying to ensure like there was no more enslavement, and there was just freedom for black people in the Western Hemisphere. This is why white folk tried to cut it back, right? This is why white folk maneuvered in a certain way, because and the issue too is that Dessalines was not trying to invade other countries and make them free either, which was something that he should have probably done. And what you run into, I don't remember who I was talking. I don't remember if I was talking on the podcast or whatever. But what you run into is a situation where today, IT is the best country in the Western Hemisphere if you're trying to build power, because it's the largest black majority country in the Western Hemisphere. Now, the issue with that is that it's only 10 million people. You understand? The issue with that is that it's only 10 million people. So the largest black majority nation in the Western Hemisphere is only 10 million people. Which is, again, African continent has 1 billion people. Which is, I want to say, well, it's just a lot more than 10. I mean, I want to say that's, I guess, 100 times as many people, right? So the point being, right? The point being is that if you're trying to make a big impact for African people on the continent, right? You want to not just be on the continent, but you want to really deal with a larger population. So even if you had national authority over 10 million people, you're not really impacting that many African people. But if you have national authority over 350 million people, then you're really doing something different. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, there's no African country with 350 million people, but you could still, like, if we work and navigate in a certain way, we could, it's a possibility. It's obviously, it's obviously, like, it requires a lot of organization. It requires a lot of work on our part, but you know it can be done, you know, and it's really just a matter of us really getting together and doing what we need to do. I'm seeing some more comments, so let's see. Uh, let's see. Aframax says, "How can Hoteps gain more ground against the church? Do we have to infiltrate the church?" Salim Faraji says we do. Yeah, the church. I mean, I know you. I guess you said you like the word Hotep, but yeah, the church is, even if you infiltrate the church, the reality is that the church is like protected institutionally. You know what I mean? So like the reality is that people could just break away from your church and just do a church all over again. There is I think I linked him inside of the Discord. There's this brother who has a black church, quote unquote pro black church. Let me see if I can find the video. What is his name? I don't remember where I put him though. But there's this brother who does have Ray Higgins. Yeah, so Ray Higgins has a black church, and like that's about it though. It's not really like it's neither here nor there. So I wouldn't like if you're trying to gain ground against the church. I would provide my own services. You know, I would have my own institution, my own building that has its own ties, its own taxes. You have your own community center. If you have a good thing going, then you can do what you need to do. But again, I also said that because the churches get funding from the city, you're probably not looking to get funding from the city. So I don't know how you expect to do anything that the churches can do. I wouldn't like again. I don't really mess with America, but I wouldn't think of it as a tactical advantage. Like I don't see how you could do it if you're not getting funds from the city, because the churches are getting $61 million, and you're just raising among your own people. I want to say maybe $200,000, right? If you manage, like you might be able to manage that $200,000, but you really can't do much with $200,000. Like it's not that much money. It's a lot of money, but it's not that much money. Anyway, a soldier without an education becomes a criminal. Not becomes a criminal. A soldier without political education is a potential criminal. So you're not necessarily going to be a criminal, but it's very likely you would. So, like, what's your take on drugs that white boys have calculated all the possible rebels? What's your take on drugs the white boy have calculated all the possible rebels into his system and set up traps to capture the would-be rebels? Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to. Like if you're in a nation, you're supposed to make sure that your population is under control. You know? If for some reason your population is not under control and you're the national authority, then you're messing up. You know what I mean? Like if you have rebels who are just like if you have rebels in your country and you're not doing anything about it, you're slipping. You know what I mean? So that's really what that's about. Like white people are supposed to oppress black people in their country. Well, they're supposed to oppress rebels, whether black or white. And if they don't, then they're slipping. You know, I don't think they should, obviously, but that's only because I'm black. But I think it makes a lot of sense that white people would try to suppress rebellion in their own country. You know, just like in black countries, they're trying to suppress rebellion. We were just talking about hashtag end SARS. A lot of we are on the side of ending SARS, right? SARS would be, and I don't know why they use that word, but I think it was like the anti-theft, something like that, anti-theft, something like that. But the thing with SARS is that they're like abusing people in the streets, like beating them, punching them, shooting them, you know, killing people, right? So it's a horrible thing. But if there are black people in Nigeria who are trying to rebel against the state, obviously the state's going to try to keep itself in power. You understand? Because if the state falls apart, then you're going to have like essentially all those people who work for the state are unemployed now, you know, or possibly killed. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, that's so they're trying to protect their lives. So it's like the thing with humanity and humans is that, you know, that the way how the world really works is a lot of people are trying to protect their lives. A lot of people are trying to protect their livelihoods, and like a lot is at stake. You know, so whereas we might from the outside or or even if you're there, you might protest against the abuses that people are going through. You have to realize that there are long-term ramifications, long-term consequences, particularly if there are concessions. So what happened with the end SARS thing is that it did end. Like SARS, they changed it to SWAT, I think, right? And so now people are saying no, end SWAT. So it's like a lot is going on. So let's see. Afromax TV says universalism in higher education is a cancer to African people. Absolutely. We all have to also throw away the Latin letter system. Yeah, I want to do that too. It's but that's the thing. It's really complicated. So it's like eventually you want to move towards this great African system. I would prefer to actually learn metametric, but I realize it's just not really too practical. Like it would be like you couldn't communicate with anybody. Eric Mason has the woke church movement, but he attacks African spirituality. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're in church, if you're in church, you already done messed up with African spirituality. You already done like gave up on that. Let's go. There are still Eurasians on our island, yet you believe you are free and independent of their republics, which have fought all nations but have never conquered those who were determined to be free. This is Jean-Jacques Dessalines again. So he's like, there are still Eurasians on our island. Like while he's in the middle of his war, he's like, why are there still white people on our war? And I think he was talking about Frenchmen. He was like, there's still the French on our war. But you believe that you're free and independent of their republics, which have fought all nations. See, the white people have fought every nation, but have never conquered those who were determined to be free. White people only conquer those who are not determined to be free. So the only question is, are you determined to be free? And if you're conquered, the answer is no. If you've been conquered, the answer is no. And that's what they need to realize, that a lot of black folk are not determined to be free. That's something that you have to realize. And so I'm going to just read maybe two more. I know it's going good. It's Dessalines, and I'm probably not going to return to Dessalines. But I'm not going to return to this next time. I'm going to start back from the beginning. But like I said, you have the book in the description. What do you say, bro? What do you say?
It's gone.
No, I'm not. I said maybe two more. But anyway, yeah, you have the book in the description, and you could also talk about it in the Discord. So you could just go to the Discord. We have this channel called Book Discussion. You can open up this book, show the page, and be like, Oni, what do you think about this? And we can engage on that. But otherwise, I'm gonna try to cut service short today. Well, not short, but we're gonna try to cut it. Maybe two more pages. All right. So let's go. This is one of the last two pages. So it says, we are victims of over 14 years of our own credulity and indulgence. We were defeated not by French armies, but by the deceptive eloquence of their agents. So this is Dessalines again. He's saying over 14 years, right? We were victims of over 14 years of our own credulity. Like, it's not that the French beat you with the armies. They beat you with deception, the deceptive eloquence. You understand? Because we were credulous. I'm telling you, go open this book yourself. Because this right here, this is obviously in the Book of Power too. So you can read the Book of Power and you can find this too. But go open, if nothing else, open up this Pan-African Greatest Orators and look at what Dessalines is telling you. Okay? Look at what these greatest orators are telling you. Because this is something that you have to understand, that even back then, this is like 200 years ago. Okay? 200 years ago, Jean-Jacques Dessalines was telling you that it's the white boy's deception that's going to get you. Right? This is why I tell you, I publish this stuff so that you could hear the stuff, the wisdom of our ancestors, and realize that, when you focusing on the army and you're not focusing on the deceptive eloquence of the enemy, right? That you slipping up. Okay? What I want you to really understand that. All right? And then last but not least, here it goes. Oh, this is it. Oh, that's lame. Like, I kind of wanted to keep going, but I don't want to. I shouldn't. I want you to go either get the book, because this is the thing. Jean-Jacques Dessalines, he spoke in French or Creole. He spoke in Creole. This is a translation by me. You understand? Or at least, it's a translation. It's English translations, and I wrote them to be eloquent, because he was considered a great orator. And like one of the translations, I should say, is this white boy who like wrote it, and it's like you think that Dessalines couldn't speak. You know what I mean? Like he probably did it on purpose. Then there was another brother who wrote it, but he wasn't good at English. You know what I mean? So it's like you take somebody who, unfortunately, yeah, I'm good at English, right? So you take somebody who's good at English and you say, look, let me give Dessalines some flavor. You know, so here he goes. They're different color. He's talking about white folk. They're different color, and the vast sea that separates us shows sufficiently that they are not our brothers, nor will they ever be. So Dessalines is like, look, because white folk have a different color, and because there's a sea that separates us, right? They are not our brothers. White people are not our brothers. When they come to us talking about brotherhood, they are not our brothers, and they will never be. Meanwhile, you questioning whether or not they could be your brothers. Come on. So that's Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Like I said, go ahead, read the book. I'll obviously engage some comments, but until then, I want you to share this. This was a good one. I like this one. I mean, I like all of them, obviously, but I like this one. So let's see. Eric Mason. Oh, Mercedes. I say, what's your take on drugs and hedonist culture? Is it a trap set up by the white boy to catch the rebels? Yeah, again, rebels. Well, drugs. The thing is this: drugs and hedonist culture is what white people engage in. White people have drugs and hedonist culture. It's not so much that. I wouldn't say it's just to catch rebels, as much as people like drugs and hedonism. Hedonism is just looking at pleasure, looking for pleasure in your life, and drugs are, I hear they're pleasure inducing, or their consciousness, like they're good for escapism too, as far as I understand. Like essentially what I understand about drugs is that they release dopamine into they allow your brain to release dopamine at extreme levels, and dopamine essentially is a chemical way for you to be happy, right? Like it's the chemical that's released while you're happy, or like while you're experiencing some joy or some good or some pleasure, if you will. So essentially, it's like a way to artificially induce pleasure and joy, and it's just something that people do. And apparently, like you had this. Yeah, exactly. You had this in Africa, and one of the reasons why drugs are bad, though, is that they, like, essentially, you need more and more drugs because your brain's gonna be wise to the situation and like kind of build like an immunity or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. So like, and apparently they're worse for black people. So that's what Lila Africa would tell you, is that like weed and all that, marijuana and all that, is actually worse for black people because essentially this dopamine interaction and engagement, really like engages melanin in a different way. And so like when you have the like essentially we have more internal melanin as well, and that really like it is messed up for us, but it's not really messed up for white folk. So a lot of times like essentially we're just adapting a white culture. So these are white cultures, so it's not really necessarily a trap as much as it's something that white people were doing or white people do for themselves. But if we're copying and emulating them, but we have a different physiology, it's kind of like we're messing up and we kind of trapped ourselves. And it really goes back to the African proverb that goes, a bird who thinks that it's a bat who thinks that it's a bird is in for a good surprise. So like we're thinking two different things now.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly. Check your biology before you diology. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. All right. Anyway, all right. Let's see. Should the AU be overthrown? The AU be overthrown. Well, I mean, look. I mean, everything is like. Unfortunately, everything is like almost every like it's like throwing away the baby with the bathwater. A lot of things is gonna have to change if you want.
That's a charge.
You said that's a charge?
Yeah.
You mean throwing away a baby? Yeah. Oh, you talking about AU? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
countries.
But throwing away a baby? I mean, yeah, that sounds like a bad thing. not in some countries. That sounds like something that, generally speaking, is like a terrible thing to do. But should the AU be like the question is, like everything. Like the thing is that if you're a revolutionary, like revolutionaries are trying to get rid of everything. The thing is this. The thing is that this is why there's counter-revolutionaries. So the AU is not going to just sit by and let you throw them out. Okay? The AU is really going to say to itself, let me protect myself and protect what I have, what I'm about. So, my thing is that, you as African people have to organize to that level. In fact, matter of fact, it was Afromac. Afromac said it on the Discord. So make sure y'all come to the Discord, and you could hear a lot of intelligent conversations. So Afromac was pointing out that he said the Democrats, the reason why the Democrats are not given to black folk like they should is because the African nationalists are weak. You know, like right now the African nationalists are so weak that even the AU is not going to be given to you. Like no one's going to be given to nobody that's weak. You know, like I said, the NBC invested in this Afroland thing is really something important. Because if I say to the Afroland people, hey, I want you to, like, let's say if I get all these Sunday African warships, I put them all together, right? There's not too many right now, but I put all the Sunday African warships together, and I say, hey,
it's like a week's worth streaming.
Exactly, but I say, Afroland TV, could you subscribe this? I mean, could you put this on your program? Blah blah blah. Because one thing I want to tell you about quality TV, while I don't really like quality TV, I mean I like quality TV, but one of the things I didn't like was that when you go to the documentary section, all the hidden colors is there. You understand? Now I didn't watch it obviously, but the point being that, you know, Tariq Nasheed got enough pull.
What's your beef with hidden colors, man?
Alright, anyway. But, you know, we don't got time. Well, like, what I say is that Tariq Nasheed, well, I don't like, the reality is that Tariq Nasheed and them, they were able to go to, either, like, somehow or another, they're streaming on quality TV. So, even when I'm paying my quality TV thing, I might be giving Tariq Nasheed some money, which is like, that sucks, right? But, point being.
Why? Your brother.
Nah, okay. He definitely a brother from another mother. No, he's not. Sorry, he's not a brother. Yo, you got me saying that. No, he's not a brother. He's one of the people. He's one of the people with the eloquent language. Anyway, but like, here's the thing though. So it's like, the reality is this: that if we had pull, you know, maybe, or let's say if I had pull, right? If I had pull, I'd probably be featured on this thing. Now, obviously, my, you know, this Sunday African Warship, while it's great quality, probably not that visually stimulating, visually engaging. But the point is that if black people,
never lie.
if black people were looking at this kind of stuff, then yeah, they would pay me for it. You understand? They would pay me for it. But the point being that, you know, like when you talk about something as large as overthrowing,
streaming at 2 a.m. PBS.
Broadcasting station. You know, I actually used to stream. I actually used to have videos on the local television, obviously. But I used to.
No copies,
huh? No, there's on YouTube, like, if you see my old videos, those are the videos that I used to put on TV, you know? But anyway.
So got any, you know, subscriber messages and letters, fan mail?
I have one friend who watched my stuff. He made sure to watch it. But I mean, like, I didn't have no.
Your wife doesn't count.
Alright, no, I ain't got nobody. But anyway, no, she didn't watch it, to be honest. But anyway, it was just this one dude. All right, so it's like when you have the power to overthrow something, then you have the power to overthrow something. You have the power to either, you know, to bring it to compromise, if you will. So like NBC Universal is not like, should we overthrow Afroland TV? No, they're like, should we just go invest and then, you know, control them economically? You know what I mean? Like you could do the same thing with the AU. Be like, you know what? We could just invest and control the AU economically. You understand? They already got all the contracts, all the binding thing, and then you could also like change up the contracts and then make it so that, you know, the AU becomes like a freak. You know, like, you could do a whole lot of stuff, but the main thing you got to focus on is building that power so that you can actually do that stuff. Right now, the question of overthrowing the AU is like, it's almost like you as an individual, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like they won't even let you next to the door. You know what I'm saying? Like they like some of them won't even let you in the country. You know what I mean?
For yourself.
Well, you went to the AU before?
Hey, I'm connected out here, man.
All right.
Check the pedigree.
All right. Sure.
They don't call me Machiavelli for no reason, man. The Don.
I mean, I ain't never heard nobody call you Machiavelli but me. Pretty sure I was a different person. Let's see. He says, we need to produce a series debunking the falsehoods in hidden colors for the sake of our people's sanity. Man, you know, I as much as I want to do this, I don't even want to advertise the dude. I'm mad I even said his name.
Yes, you do. I know you want to.
Nah, I don't want to advertise the dude. Like dude is just like maybe Hidden Colors 1 because that's the only one I saw. So if you want, we could. I mean, I don't know the legality behind that, but we could. Because like I said, I got Korean TV. We could stream it, and we could both watch it and be like, "What the hell is he talking about?" You know what I'm saying? But so the Black American culture is not connected to Africa. He's a historian. He ain't a historian. He's a grifter. Yeah, Tweeden is definitely a grifter. But all right, family, we're gonna cut it short. Well, not short, but we're gonna cut it off. And I'm gonna tell y'all, like I told Mercedes, get the book of power, and let's read on that. Exactly, Amazon.com. Go to Amazon. If you wonder why it's on Amazon, like I said, I contacted what was his name? Baruti one day. Baruti's a nice brother. So one time somebody was telling me that if you was going to look at any of the black nationalists in America, like one of the real ones, they would say that it would be Baruti, right? So I contacted Baruti because Baruti saw one of my plays and he was like, everybody should read this, right? And I mean, I read that on this podcast before too. It's like, I think the play is called something about prison, something like that. But you just look it up and you'll see. And
Zubiri Part 2.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was. I think it was before Zubiri, but you know, he read that and then all that. So I was like, you know, because I read his book called Sesh after that, and he was like, what you want to do is you want to go to Office Max, get yourself a bunch of printings, blah blah blah, and then you can sell your book that way, blah blah blah. And so I wrote him. I was like, you know, Office Max out of business, something like that, right? And he was like, oh, don't do Office Max.
Why you got Office Depot?
Yeah, exactly. He was like, don't do that no more. You know, because I went to Office Depot or whatever and got the books or whatever. But he was like, don't do that anymore. Go ahead and just do Amazon. You know, because they do print on demand, which means that you don't got to have a whole inventory. You don't got to do a whole mailing and all that. You know, because my thing is that I don't like mailing people, because when you mail people,
out of your trunk,
they can mail you back. Exactly. You know what I mean? But
like,
like,
get a P.O. box.
Yeah, but even the P.O. box thing, I'm like, the P.O. box, like, if people know you going to the P.O. box, they know where to get you. You know what I mean? Like, you on camera, you on everything. You know, like, at the time, I was definitely...
They gonna stalk you out at your mailbox.
I mean, true. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Like you acting like nobody never... Like, if people know... That's why I say, man, people know where you gonna be beforehand. Like, they don't need to stalk you. They could just done you. Like, that's how a lot of that's why you have shootouts that's why you have shootings at these big festivals. You know, like in America and New York City, we got the Labor Day parade, right? The reason why you have shootings there is because everybody know you're gonna be there. You know? Like, or why they have shootings at funerals. Why they have shootings at so and so. If people know you're gonna be at a funeral before you there, they can set up and that's actually how they got Nipsey. Right? They knew where he was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So it's like well, actually no. Well, apparently they say Nipsey's thing is a little more organic, a little more like. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but they said. But like the point being though is that if I go tell this if the white boy want to kill me, and I tell the white boy, you know, I'm gonna be in D.C. and anybody know a cheap hotel I can go to, and somebody says, yeah, you can go to Mercedes Hotel, blah blah blah, right? As soon as I check in, you know, before I even get to the door, like if I'm gonna check in for a certain time, you already know what's going to happen. You know, if he's trying to kill me, then, you know, I done slipped up. So it's like with the P.O. box thing, it's the same thing. If you know I'm going to my P.O. box to check on whatever, they got cameras in the freaking post office. Stay strapped. Okay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, people, I tell y'all really believe in that Rambo stuff. You know? I'm telling y'all believe in Rambo.
Okay.
Like you go to, like, you stay strapped. Okay, stay strapped. But you saw what happened in the case of the sister, Breonna Taylor, you know, her man was strapped.
Yeah.
But when you see the video after, but like here's the thing that happened in the Breonna Taylor case, right? First off, the police just show up, they strap, they outnumber her, then they outgun the guy, cause they check you at any hour they want.
One gun versus like 10.
Exactly. Yeah. But then on top of that, look at this. Then they send in the SWAT team with the body armor and the tactical. You know, if he was still wanting to fight, he ain't stand a chance.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's like if I'm going to the P.O. box, yeah, I might, even if I'm strapped. You know what I'm saying? If I somehow shoot one shooter and they whatever, then they send in the team. And the thing is that your little gun can't do much against that team if you don't know. If you don't know, your little gun can't do much against that team. You know. So you know that's the situation that you find yourself in the United Snakes, which is that, you know, unless you're like organized on a big level, and part of that organization on the big level is not telling folk where you gonna be before you there. But if you're telling them that my PO box this, so on and so forth, right? They already know where you at, you know, and they already have video footage of you. And of course, at the time, I was trying to be a little more anonymous, so people didn't know what I look like. But if I'm showing up and I'm opening up PO box 555 or whatever, right? And I'm on camera doing it, you know what I mean? Then, you know, that's all I waited to know.
There's lots of people that got, I mean,
yeah, they're not doing nothing though.
That's the way they could.
I mean, somebody else could pick it up for you, I guess.
Yeah, they can pick you out easily though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe you could like send somebody else, but again, I don't have that. I don't have that resources for that. You know, send somebody else.
All you gotta do is make sure don't carry your scarf with you, bro. You be straight.
I can't, man. It's cold outside. All right, I ain't trying to get a cold, man. What's wrong with you? All right. Anyway, thanks so much, family, for joining. You know, obviously Machiavelli with the commentary, with the jokes.
Yeah, no problem.
You know, you know, Afromac, Mercedes, Future, Bitter Medicine Podcast. Everybody who was listening, I got 9 likes, which is good. We went up from 4, so we're doing good. And thank you for joining me this Sunday. Shem Hotep. Yeah.